I knew I'd find the button. Hey, welcome back. If you're here and watching, probably not. I get it. It's early. It's 1:30 in the morning. I don't know why I do this shit to myself. But it's really the only time that I get a lot of work done. Everybody's in bed. As long as I don't talk too loud, I'm good. Um, and besides, I've been having a rough time with the shoulder, so I am not sleeping very well. So I thought, I'll stream. I started this Kodiak um, yesterday, and I'm going to work on it some more today. See how far we go, how far I get. So if you watch this later, make sure to like the video. If this is your kind of thing. If not, well, at least I appreciate you checking it out. So let me get this posted on here real quick. Also noticed yesterday that there was quite a bit of a delay with the stream being broadcast to my channel. So I don't know if that's a setting in Melon that I have to work out or something of that nature. I don't know. I'm going to have to check it out. And I have to see what's going on right now with it. So just give me a second and I'll get that all worked out. So I'm going to post it to Twitter. Hopefully somebody's up that would like to chat, talk, keep me company while I do this. If not, then I get to refine my skills of talking to a camera and nobody else. So let's see how this goes. All right, post it again. All right. I had to put this, I think it's a pop filter on my mic. Uh, I noticed I was having trouble with that. So here, let me minimize myself. I'll share my screen. That's pretty good. I think you don't need to see a lot of me. Another change from yesterday's stream is the actual camera. It's not it's not going through Logitech Capture this time, and that's why it looks like I'm very small on the screen. It's a lot wider angle. I can't adjust that whatsoever in Melon, which is interesting to me. So the reason I did that is because there seems to be a sync delay between the audio and the video if I run the camera through Logitech Capture through Melon and streaming it. So a lot of crap you probably don't care about. So just to give you the difference of yesterday and today. So all right, well, let's start off here. Hope everybody's good. I was really hoping to get some people in. Like to just a couple things. Like to get other people's opinions on what's going on in the world of entertainment. The whole Henry Cavill thing and the rumor that they might be doing a Warhammer 40K series on, of all places, Amazon. I don't know if that's good or bad based on recent offerings from Amazon. I think we all know what I'm talking about. Not a big fan of Rings of Power. I think that thing is I'll just say it's not for me. How about that? So Warhammer 40,000 or 40K TV series starring Henry Cavill. And Henry Cavill is a big Warhammer fan. A lot of times he posts on his Instagram him painting his Custodes army. He's a Custodes fan. He loves those big boys. And he talks about it a lot during interviews, especially when he was doing interviews for The Witcher. He's just an all-around nerd. He liked the Witcher game. He liked the Witcher books. He plays World of Warcraft. I'm sure he does a bunch of other nerd stuff too, and that's cool. And he loves source material, and he loves sticking to the source material. So if they do decide to do it, and it does go ahead with it, I hope that he wins out as far as his fight for staying true to the source material. Because 40K has some very interesting lore, and it's well. Uh, it's 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 been around a while, and there's a bunch of things they could draw from in order to do a story, and I think that would be very cool. So we'll see what happens there. But it's enough of me talking, I guess. Or I'll talk while I'm doing this. So this is where I left off last night, or yeah, last morning. Is that right? I guess yesterday morning, early, and I've got the basics down, kind of what I want to do. Some base values in there, shadow and light. The overall form is in there. There's a couple things in here that need a lot of cleaning up that I'm not too happy with, but that's all part of a rough draft, isn't it? So uh, I think what I'm going to do here is normally when I get to this spot now, I either decide, okay, is it going to be really rough? Is it going to be clean this up just a little bit? Uh, Keep the lines that I already have on the page, or am I going to go over it with a more refined pencil type look? When I'm doing comic pages, like the stuff I'm doing for Corey, for Oni, it starts off kind of like this, for a page, each panel or whatever. I get to this level of detail, and then I'll go in and then I'll start inking, and that's where I add all the more fine detail to it and things like that. But I'm not doing this for comic. I'm not doing this really for black line art to be colored later. So I'm a personally I'm a fan of rough lines, and then just black and white shading using digitally emulated Copic markers. Matter of fact, they even labeled Copic markers. If you look here on my, I don't know if you can see my cursor on the screen. It doesn't look like it, but up here on the right hand side, there's a little button that says Copic, and if I click on that, excuse me, get different kind of tips that emulate a Copic marker. And then over to the right, where the color palettes are, there's Copic color palettes, neutral grays, warm grays, cool grays. They even have color ones. So that's kind of the look I'm going to go for with this eventually. I'm not there yet, though. I need to decide what I'm going to do as far as the line art. Now, I think what I'm going to try first, since I'm just goofing around and it's for me, It's not for anybody. It's no commission. I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to hide this layer with the little snow debris blowing up, being kicked up. And I'm going to knock down the opacity of this layer somewhat. Excuse me a minute. Dyed like pepper. I wish it was bourbon, but I'm out of bourbon, so Diet Dr. Pepper has to do. All right, so new layer. I'm gonna go with. Let's try this first. We got it's called a perfect pencil. I don't know how perfect it is. I have a bunch of homemade brushes I made, or bought from other people that simulate pencil strokes. So I might try one of those as well. But first, we're gonna try this perfect pencil. I think it's a little bit thicker. It's a brush size of 13 pixels. I'm gonna see what we get. I can zoom in a little bit. Maybe it shows up better on the screen for you. So, all right. So I notice right here on the, let me go back to this. Right here, there's in the CGL render of this Mech, there's like a little um, lip for this section here. I'll add that in there, of course, and then, take it out a little bit there. Of course, right now it looks very scattered type thing, but that's kind of what it looks like. And then you have panel lines all up in here. I won't try to be exact. I'll just throw some in, make it look like it belongs. Doing something there. All right, so let's try this pencil. So I'm gonna zoom in. My phone notification, crazy. Let's zoom in a little bit more here, and we are going to start. See what we get. Let me pull my reference out a little bit. I need to. Gonna look around the microphone. All right, that should be good. I want to hum. That's going to be annoying for anybody that watches this video. Okay, I won't hum. It's another thing about these more modern renditions of the Battletech mechs. Something I really enjoy is that, they've done a lot of, call it's detail, I assume, but it's more panel lining, right? And just really makes the mech kind of stand out as opposed to the old ones where they had some but it wasn't to this level. I mean, I enjoyed the art of Battletech back in the 80s and the 90s, but I think for the most part, okay, not they're not all bangers, right? um, for the most part, a lot of the new stuff I think is well done. So, all right. So, from this reference picture, it does look like this cannon is bigger and it probably takes up more space here because it looks like this housing is broken out. Like, I mean, it doesn't look like it connects on the bottom like it does on the top. So, I might come back to that. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to leave this dark like this. I'm not going to draw in any detail in these shadowed spots, these hard shadows. And that will remind me when I go to do the shading on it that it's a hard shadow. So I'm looking at this pencil. It's good for the video because people can see what I'm doing there. It's almost too much, though, for me on this drawing. But we'll continue. We are not going to fret too much about that at this point. I'm still a ways away from anything close to being finished. So this is all shadow as well, or should be. Nice hard shadow here. Mm-hmm. Looks like there's some vents on this thing here. We'll add them for the time being. Mm-hmm. Laser barrel right here. There's 3 more right here, but you're not going to be able to see them. rough in this here. Approximately what it might look like. Imagine doing this would be a lot easier if you had the 3D model and you could render the 3D model in something like Blender or any other 3D program that will display a 3D model with a source light. Put it in the pose you want and render it. Take that render image, put it in your drawing program, put an overlay over the top, and go to town. I'm sure that would be much easier to do. I know everybody's really concerned about my shoulder, so I'll tell you that today was a much better day. It pain subsided a little bit today. I actually did a little bit of work in the yard. Um, work in the yard, pick up garbage out of the backyard or junk that needed to be removed. I was worked on Oni a little bit. Worked on my. I have my own little project I'm doing where I've written a tabletop game rule set, miniature skirmish game rule set. I've been working on it for like 12 months. And I'm fortunate enough to have a 20-year-old grandson, and him and I have been playing some Necromunda, and he really likes it. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Necromunda, but it's a pretty fun little Games Workshop game. You play gangs in the Underhive, and yeah, we're having some fun playing it. Well, anyways, now that I have introduced him to tabletop gaming, I can conscript him to help me playtest my rule set, which we will do next week sometime. I have, it's probably 24 pages of rules. It's a miniatures agnostic style game, and which in the future I hope to have my own line of miniatures for it as STL files so you can download them and print them in a 3D printer. I've been working on the concept designs for those miniatures as well as the artwork for the rule book. And so I do that just to get a little break from sequential art. And oops, wrong brush. See that? Different pencil. The rough pencil is a lot thinner, a lot finer. And so that's what I was looking at. I wanted to see what kind of difference I got there. So, anyways, yeah. So I work on the rule set off and on every day. Right now, the rules are written. I play tested them once. Me and my grandson will play test them some more. Try to iron out the kinks, and once I get the layout done and the artwork in there, I don't know if I'm going to offer it like really cheap on Drive Through RPG, or there's Wargaming Vault. Yeah, Wargaming Vault, which is owned by the same company. Or if I'm going to give away the rules for free, but if I do that, then I work for nothing because I don't have anything else to sell with the rule set. I don't have miniatures to sell yet or whatever. But like I said, I am working on that, but that's not going to be ready for months from now. I'm not seriously getting into that, the actual modeling of those STL files until after I get um, Oni project done. Then also have another comic project that I talked with a friend of mine. Oh, this was a while ago. This was a couple years ago. He wrote a script for me. He's a script writer, like a movie script writer, screenplay writer, and he has a story he wanted to tell, and he wanted to try it out with the graphic novel or comic medium, right? And I told him I would do it. At the time, I just started Corey's project, so I feel obligated. Not only that, but I want to do it because it's a good story. It's a friend of mine's name's John LaChase who wrote a story called "Go to Hell," and so what I want to do is I want to do like a 20-page primer. Some people call it primer for it. It would be in black and white. Send it to him, see if he likes it or whatever, and then maybe offer it on one of these online digital comic distribution websites. Not Comixology. There's a couple other ones that are pretty good. So, and that's what I want to do. And it's only 20 pages, so I'm hoping I can finish that, a month or 2 months for him. But I have that going on. I've been talking with Cal Cal Jameson. He has a story called 13 Bones that I really like that story. And it's kind of set in the old West, but it's kind of like the weird West. Um, should let him tell you about it or whatever. And that would be a 24-page project. And so that's something else that I have planned that I want to do. I did some concept work for that as well. Um, Here, let me see. Maybe I'll show you. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably already seen a couple of these. So let me check this out real quick. I'll just show you. What do you think? You think I should play music in the background on these streams? The only problem is I don't like royalty free music. It's very generic, and most of the time you hear the same songs on different YouTube channels, and it's like, I'd want to play some like Led Zeppelin or some Tool or Emerson, Lake and Palmer, some shit like that. And I know that would get copyright struck, I think they just remove the audio out of your video if that happens, and then everybody just be watching the silent video anyway. So, all right, let's see here if I can find. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, I'm sure if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen this one. So this is the main character of 13 Bones. Like I said, set in the old West, but it's like a weird West. I'm looking to see if I have. I know I have some other shots. I don't know. Here, let me check this file real quick. Yeah, there's some more just rough concepts of different characters in the book or in the story. This was the first picture I sent to Cal, and he seemed to really like it, of his protagonist. So I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I think this is another one I kind of whipped up for him. A little more of an action shot, but I don't know if there's much else. This is concepts for another character, which is more of a character I had came up with, Wilfred Burke. I don't want to give the story away, but he's kind of in there, sort of. Um, wonder if that's it. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. That is it. So, anyways, but those are some of the things that I have planned for the upcoming months. Just trying to hustle, you know, trying to eke out a living doing some freelance stuff. I'm always open to commissions. I've been doing a lot of biotech commissions over the last few months, and that's been fun because I love BattleTech and I love drawing mechs. I like to draw. I like to draw mechs, but also like to draw the pilots and people associated with the mechs, right? So whenever I do any, well, except for this one, I like to, incorporate some personalities into the picture. Like here's a, I think I did this one last year. It's a really rough sketch of. I just did this really quick, like I was talking before in the video, where you know I do the when I lay down those lines, and if they're really rough like that, I decide whether or not I want to keep it like that or clean them up a little bit. This is one. This is a picture that I started and I just left it real rough, and it does have its own little distinctive look to it. Something I like. Um, of course, it's not for everybody, right? But this picture right here of this thunderbolt only took me 2 hours, 2, 3 hours to complete. So I could probably do like two of these a day if I knew the hardest part about doing these, and I don't know how other artists feel about when they're working on things, if it's not specifically a job, right? If you have a client and you're doing some work, they're going to tell you what they want, and you have to work that out, and there's usually some back and forth until you finally settle on something that the client's happy with, and that 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 you feel like you've done a good job on. But if you're doing something for yourself, if I know the hardest part of doing that is deciding what I'm going to do. A lot of times especially when I'm working on like BattleTech stuff, I don't even know what I'm going to do when I sit down to do it. I'm like, okay, what do I want to work on? I want to do this Mech. Okay, let me go look at some pictures of it. All right, what would be a good pose? What could they be doing? What's a good backdrop for it? Is there anything else going on in the image? And I'll start drawing, and then I'll quit, right? Or I'll take a break because nothing's working. Everything I'm drawing looks like shit. I don't want to do it anymore. I go tell my wife how much of a loser I am and my art is no good. And she tells me to shut up. So it's really good. But I'll just sit back down and just grind through it, got to work through it. So, like I said, this is one of those, this Thunderbolt was one of those ones where I just sat down. I said, I want to draw a Thunderbolt, and I want him to be just there, like King of the Hill type thing. And I put this little, I put the, I put the observer in the foreground just for a sense of scale. Of course, not like if you couldn't tell if the trees did that or not. So, but anyways, put a little shading in there, called it done. Now, of course, it could be cleaned up, a lot tighter line work, um, more attention to the shading, a little bit more refined. But at the time, that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to throw it up there and, hey, this is what I did. Got this done. It's kind of like, I don't know what it was. Earlier this year, I posted an old picture, an old Biotech picture that I had done. I don't even know if I have it in this folder. I'm going to look. But it was something I did way back, I think in the early 90s. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Don't worry. It's it's BattleTech related, so I'm not diverging off the topic too badly. Let's see here. I know it's in here somewhere. Thought for sure I had it in my old art folder. Oh, you know what? I bet it's different section, the hard drive. Just give me a second. I'm looking. I am looking. See, this is going to be helpful. Have people in the chat. They can tell me how big of a putz I am. Okay, yeah, here it is. So, ooh, this is 1988. All right, 1988 Battlemaster with the pilot sitting on the SRM-6. All right, so check this out. I was 23 years old. Yep, 23 years old. Boom. That was a long time ago. All right. And this was, traditional art. It was done on an 11 by 17 board. Um, Pencils with traditional inks. And if you look really close, here, I'll zoom in for you to really show off all the warts. You see all this brown? Looks kind of beige, I guess, brownish. That's basically whiteout. That's correction fluid because I inked it and I screwed it up badly. So that's correction fluid that has aged and yellowed and browned. And uh, yeah. So originally I had drawn this for a friend of mine who owned a comic book shop in Wichita, Kansas, Air Capital Comics. And this was his mech pilot for our mech warrior and battletech campaign that we played every Saturday, me and about 4 or 5 other guys. So to get back on topic, I had this old picture and I thought, man, I wonder how I could make this look now. Right. And I was getting back into Battletech with Catalyst Game Lab stuff. I had a couple people here locally that were playing, and I thought, this might be fun. I looked at the 3D models. I looked at the new miniatures, and I really liked the way they looked. So I pulled the trigger, got back in it, bought a bunch of mechs, got back into painting them. I try to hook up with people to play every now and again. I really like the Alpha Strike rules that they have for Battletech now. Classic, of course. I played Classic when it first came out, and I like it, and I will always like it. But Alpha Strike, I just enjoy it more. It's quicker. There's not the huge record sheets you have to keep marking off each individual spot of armor and internals. Uh, keep a track of weapon systems that get hit. Critical hits basically. Alpha Strike is, hey, I can move this, move this. It has this much armor and these many internals, and once they're gone, and you're dead. So I don't know. I just like playing that version more. So let's get back into it. I said I want to see what I can do with this drawing now, and so I whipped this one up. It only took me what? Um, this particular one took me, I think, 3 hours. And this is the modern day version of that picture. So obviously, I think is better. Let me see if I can move it over. My stupid camera blocks it. And it's really rough. Like the line work is rough. It's basically just digital pencils, shaded. Mm, you can look if you look in this image. I'll just go over the top here of it. So if you look at the image, like see all these lines I left in here. There, there, there. I mean, it's all just really rough pencil work. It's not cleaned up, but for me, that I don't know. I like it. I've always liked art like that. So that was earlier this year. A little bit more, you know, frequent things. Did a rifleman for Renegade HPG. Um, Travis, really good dude. You should check out his channel. He does a lot of interviews with past BattleTech artists. I think he's had a couple episodes where he's had Tex talks on there. He's big into BattleTech as well. He's kind of old school as well. He likes the BattleTech card game. Um, Doing his best to revive it, and he's been very kind to me and floating a lot of BattleTech work my way. So I appreciate that. And you should really go check him out. I think he has a patron. Yeah, he does. Well, he does. Gallery 3028, I believe, is the name of the Patreon. And he tries to put a spotlight on BattleTech art, whoever it is. Old school guys, newer people doing BattleTech. So check him out. But I did a rifleman form recently. Big chunky rifleman. I'm not sure if this is the final one because let me look here real quick. Might be, might be because initially I sent him the picture and um, he wanted me to make a few changes on it. So I'm not sure if this is the final one I sent him or if this is like one of the first ones I sent him. But this is my version of the Rifleman Combat. There's a more recent one I did. I've done. Ooh, you know what might be fun? I'll show you an old elemental picture I did. This was in '91. Um, yes, I like the clans. So what? Um, but yeah, I did this elemental picture back in 1991, and not too bad, not too bad. And then I did another elemental recently for Renegade Art, Renegade HPG. Um, which is, let's see here. Yeah, right here. Um, yeah, this is a recent one I did earlier this year. Well, probably back in June or something for Renegade HPG. Another elemental shot attacking a mech. Um, he had a little. I don't know. I don't think it was a contest, but he challenged his Patreons to figure out figure out the mech that he was attacking. and I'm not sure if anybody ever did, but and I'm not going to give it away here because I think he's still doing it. But this is a fun picture. Of course, it's missing the missile launcher because obviously he's already fired it, and once they're empty, he's not going to carry it around. Or she, you know, there's some female elementals. They're pretty burly, so. But that was another fun one I did. So, and then probably one of my favorite recent biotech pictures I did, commissions, was of a mercenary leader and her preferred mech. And I'll pull that one up for you real quick. He wanted me to do the. He wanted me to do the big shot like this, her in the foreground, and I had to kind of force the perspective on this so I could get the whole mech in and get her whole body in. And so I have her kind of walking up on an outcropping in the foreground. And I tried to display that with maybe her companion back there waving or shielding his eyes from the sun, looking where she's at, standing beside the mech or next to the feet of the mech with the Marauder. Um, yeah, this is one of my favorite ones I've done recently. I really enjoyed doing this just because I enjoyed drawing the Marauder and I like to draw, like I said, I like to draw the characters, especially females. I like to draw females. I am a pinup. I'm a fan of pinup art. I know that's not popular nowadays, but I don't really care. I like Gil Elvgren. I like Vargas. I like um, Dave Stevens. I like Boris Vallejo. I like Frank Frazetta. I like Olivier. Olivia, I think. Olivia. These are all pinup artists. Well, Frazetta and Boris are more fantasy artists, but a lot of their art has elements of pinups in it. And I've always liked it and I always will, and whatever. But I really like this picture. I like how it turned out. He liked it as well. And he had me do a bust of her, which I don't know if I have that one. But let's see here. Yeah. I got a little bust of her there that went along with this, with the mech picture. And I'm supposed to do a dossier on that too. I'm looking at that now. Something looks funky. I don't think that was the final one. Might have been. I don't know. Something looks weird on that. Oh well. Um yeah, so that's some of the more recent stuff I've done. Here's an interesting one I did. I did a client wanted, he had his own character for his Battletech playthrough, and he was Comstar guy that worked for logistics, basically. He didn't drive a Mech or anything. And I thought that was pretty cool. Sorry, my shoulder's starting to cram up again. I thought that was pretty cool, so I agreed to do it. And maybe you've seen this one, maybe you haven't. But Yuri, his character's name. And he's got a little heavy metal t-shirt on. He's got a Comstar tattoo. Showing him working by his desk. Or taking a little smoke break by his desk. It's another one I really like doing because it wasn't, it's a, like I said, it wasn't a mech, right? It was something else, but it had to do with Battletech universe. And, I just enjoy that stuff. So yeah, I thought I'd share some of that stuff with you. I also do. I'm a tabletop gaming fan, so I also do some. I love Necromunda, the game Necromunda. So I did this little. This is a for fun thing. This wasn't a commission. This is just something I did, which was a Goliath, a member of the Goliath gang against a member of the Escher gang. And that's just really this. All this really is just rough pencil. The only shading I did was in the background. Everything else is just rough pencil, like something you'd turn in to get inked or something. Something like that. So, um, yeah, I enjoy stuff like that. I think I actually have a few others I've done for fun. Um, yeah. All right. Here's a couple. Here's a couple more Goliaths because I play the Goliath gang. And this is another one of those ones like the Thunderbolt where I just whipped out the drawing really quick, a lot of heavy black lines. And then I did the shading on it with the Copics, slapped a gradiated background on it and called it done. And I thought it turned out pretty well. Which is based off one of the miniatures. It's got the huge sled and the plasma stub combi pistol. And then the other Goliath picture I did for my gang was this guy here. And that's just basically really rough, loose pencils with some shading on it. So I don't know. It's fun. I draw a lot more relaxed when I'm just doing stuff for myself because I'm not worried about if the person I'm drawing it for is going to like it. That's one of my biggest mental things as an artist. Doing work for other people. I want to make sure they like what they're paying for, obviously. So, here's one other one I'd like to share with you since we're just looking at this stuff real quick. I did this picture after watching, there's a painter, miniature painter on YouTube. It's Sonic. Oh, what is his handle? What's his name? Sonic Hedgehammer. Sonic Hedgehammer, I believe. And he was doing a Sisters of Battle. And so while I was watching him paint, I drew this Sisters of Battle up. Right. Adeptus Sororitas. And It's another one I really like. I'd like to either attempt to color it one day or maybe pay somebody who's a good colorist to color it for me. Uh, because like this one is one that I would actually hang up on my wall frame and hang up on my wall. I really like it. So, all right. Well, enough of going through my freaking art folder. I'm sure you guys, if you came to watch this, you came to watch me work on this Kodiak. So, let me get to it. Now, I will tell you that here in about 5 minutes, I'm going to have to go take something from my shoulder, or I'm not going to make it for another hour. All right, I'm going to continue to try to work in some pencils here. Oh my God, can't believe I did that. Didn't change the color. I don't know what it is with my shoulder either because it seems to bother me the most when I'm sitting like this. Like, I'm kind of sitting upright, and it seems like there's a lot of weight underneath my arm, like right where my lat muscle is, my tricep connects, right? Right underneath the delta, like you got your deltoid here, right? And your lat muscle, right where that tricep head goes in there. Oh, when I'm sitting upright like that, it seems to be a lot of weight on it like that. And that's when it seems to hurt the most. That's why you see me slouching in my chair. But that gets uncomfortable on my lower back. God, it's a bitch. All I'm doing is bitching. Shut up, Bruce. So, what else can I talk about to entertain you? While I'm drawing this. How about the Alpha Strike box set that you had to pre-order and it just came out, and now you're probably not going to be able to find it unless you pre-ordered it. That's what I'm learning. I don't understand these game companies. Games Workshop does the same crap too. I understand it costs money to produce a box item like that. I get it. And you don't want to commit to all these units and then they don't sell and then you're stuck with a bunch of inventory, right? I get it. I understand. Okay. I'm not ignorant of business. But when you know you're putting out a product that people have been clamoring for and been bugging you about it, and you have pre-orders out the wazoo to get it, why not produce a little more just so you have some extra? I don't get it. Games Workshop does the same shit too. Can't stand it. And they're also into like pre-ordering now. Hey, this is gonna go on pre-order. So, make sure Saturday you go pre-order it. Because if you don't, a bunch of scalpers are gonna buy the damn thing and then put it up on eBay and mark it up. Or in the case of like I like Necromunda, right? Ganger tactic cards, forget about it. Unless you get it when they come out, they're hard to find, or they used to be. And once in a while, I'll get lucky and I'll find them and I'll pick them up because I know that once they're gone, they're gone. I don't know. But Alpha Strike, anyway. If you watch this video later and you've picked up Alpha Strike already, leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know how you like it. Are you liking it? Do you like the little cardboard terrain that came in it? I saw a video where somebody said it was pretty good. It's just kind of thin cardboard, and so they used foam core board and reinforced it on the inside, and they glued it so it was more permanent. I don't know if the idea was to have it paper like that so that when you're done playing, you could fold it back up and carry it with you in the box. I assume that's probably part of the. Not only was it probably cheaper to produce than cardboard, but I'm sure that convenience was another factor in the way that he designed it. So, yeah, leave a comment and tell me if you liked it, if you thought it was worth the money. So I think it's like $70 or $80 US or something for the box, but you do get the terrain, you get the map, get some mechs. I'm not sure if you get the rules for Alpha Strike. I'm not sure. I already have the rules. I have the Commander's Edition, the hardback. So I didn't have to have that. What the hell did I do here? Wow. I couldn't have done that if I tried. See how the line is just one continuous line? That's ridiculous. That's not what I wanted to do. All right. You see why I don't talk and draw at the same time? I am not coordinated enough to do that. Anything else cool coming out for BattleTech? I know that there's a Kickstarter. What, in March? March maybe? Called Mercenaries, I think. And there's going to be some more plastic in that. I'm going to have to wait and see what's in there before I say whether or not I'm going to partake in that. But I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like that at all. It's not looking right. Erase. Erase. Let's work on the head instead. Anybody watching this? Are you completely down with anything BattleTech? Anything that comes out, you're picking it up no matter what. I was that way back in the 80s. I picked up almost everything. And when I got back into it, I wanted to pick up the new miniatures, right? But I probably had 50 I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but I had maybe 50 to 75 old Ralpartha metal minis, mechs, and vehicles. And a lot of the mechs are, already put together. Some of them painted. Well, I sold those locally to somebody that was getting it for his son. His son wanted to get involved in BattleTech, and he wanted some more mechs. I think I sold them all for like $75. Yeah, it was not all of them. I sold about 40 mechs for $75. Yeah, clan and Innisphere stuff. Um, and then I took that money and bought what 3 boxes of plastics. So I got like 15 mechs back, new stuff. I know that Catalyst does those, what are they called, salvage boxes, where they sell, it's a blind box of a mech. I think I heard that they do that because they don't have the license to sell individual mechs. I think that's Iron Wind thing. That Iron Wind company that was doing metal. I think they were doing metal miniatures because I think what I heard was Iron Wind had purchased all the old molds from Fossa and Ralpartha, and I know that Iron Wind had some newer designs too, but I think they were cast in metal. I believe. I don't know. I'm not for sure, but I think that's what the deal was. And they had the license to sell individual mechs, and that Catalyst didn't. So Catalyst, the only way they could sell individual mechs is if they sold it in a blind box where people didn't know what they were getting. So that's what that's how that came about, is what I heard. Maybe you know better than I, so make sure to let me know because I don't know. I mean, I don't know 100%, but that's what I heard. So the only thing about the Mercenary Kickstarter that I heard was going to be part of it was vehicles. They're going to start doing vehicles in plastic. I don't know if it's that, what do they call that? Pyoplat, cryoplast. Eesh, I don't know what it is. Let me look it up real quick. Let me see if that's what it is. I don't know the name for sure. I'm not gonna waste my time looking it up. But Corvus Belli's people who do Infinity, um, the game, they're starting to do a lot of their more heavier minis, like their remotes for the factions or the big tags. They're starting to do those in that particular way of manufacturing. Oh, my shoulder. Sorry. Manufacturing the minis. So, and I think it's a cheaper alternative to actually paying $80,000 for a mold for hard plastic. What do they call that? HIPAA plastic or whatever it's called. Hipster plastic. I don't know what it's called. But like the Games Workshop plastic models, and a lot of companies are going to that. So yeah, they're doing vehicles uh, for the mercenary Kickstarter. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm afraid. I'm always afraid of these things, especially when they do Kickstarters. I know why they do them. Kickstarter stuff is advantageous for manufacturers because basically it's pre-order, right? You can gauge the interest with a Kickstarter, and it's just pre-order. People pay for people pay for the product in advance, and they'll wait up to 6 to 12 months to get the product. Uh, Business wise, financially wise, it's a good thing for the company. And as long as you're a consumer who doesn't care about getting anything right away, it's fine for you because, you know, usually there's a nice sort of discount when you do the Kickstarter route. And you get a lot of stretch goals thrown in. So, it's a win win in that aspect of it. The only time there's a loser is when the company is late delivering or they don't deliver everything they say they're going to deliver. Um, and I'm leery of doing Kickstarters now, and I'll tell you why. I got into Infinity the game back in 2019, and I really liked it. I really liked the skirmish aspect of it. I met some people here locally that played, and they were good people, and I enjoyed playing the game with them. Had a lot of fun. I actually played in a tournament, did okay. I wasn't the greatest player, but I don't think I was the worst player either. But nobody ever, you know, gave you much shit because you weren't very good at it. It was fun. The miniatures look awesome. Corvus Belli does a really good job on their sculpts. Good stuff. And then the fiasco of 2020 and 2021 pandemic, whatever, kind of shut everything down. And even in here in Texas at the beginning, in the beginning, they were, trying to be cautious, I guess, whatever. And the game store that we used to play at didn't let you play games over there anymore. And to the point where they actually took out their gaming tables. They have more than one bunch. And they just left card tables in so people could come and play Magic the Gathering. So during that time, I think it was actually 2020, if I am not mistaken. Ooh, no, maybe 2019. I have to look it up. But Corvus Belli ran a Kickstarter for their dungeon crawler, their space dungeon crawler called Infinity, or it's called Defiance. Got miniatures in there. It was a dungeon crawler, right? Solo playable, using their minis, and they introduced a lot of new minis with it. And I'm like, man, I'm so jazzed about this because this means I could play by myself, and it's got cool minis in it, and looks like a blast. So I went all in on it. Platinum level, I think is what they called it. I think it was called platinum. Threw down my credit card, bought the whole thing. That freaking thing didn't ship to me. It shipped to me in two parts. Of course, I chose it that way, but I got the last shipment latter part of 2021. So it was 2 years from the time, I think, from the time I ordered it. And by the time it came in, I was not interested anymore. So I didn't even take it out of the box. I opened the box to make sure everything was in it. And then I sold it on eBay because I was never going to paint the minis. I was never going to play the game. I totally lost interest, and as a matter of fact, because of all the shutdown or our gaming group basically shutting down, I lost interest in Infinity completely. I still have my minis and I have some of the terrain, but I don't have any desire to play it anymore. Every once in a while, I think I'm going to, you know, I get like a little spark and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'd like to go play. But nowadays, if I want to play it, I have to drive a 30-minute drive just to hook up with some fellas to play. And I can't do that. So there's a group that plays Battletech closer to where I live about, well, it's hit or miss when they play. They usually organize it on online forums on the BG forums and the Callus Games official forums or whatever for regions. And they usually organize it through there. And they're a pretty good group of guys. And one of the one of the players has pretty nice terrain, has some Tinker Turf stuff and some 3D printed stuff. Looks really nice. So we'll play over there. Either some classic or some Alpha Strike, depending on how many people show up. But and then there's another group about tech players, a bunch of graybeards, and I say that with the utmost respect because I'm a graybeard. Old school Battletech players play nothing but classic, and I went over there and watched them play one time, and they got a good group over there as well. And I'd like to make it over there to play with them more often, but it's another thing where the game store is so far away. That one takes me 45 minutes to get to. So it's an all day event if I want to go play. Wake up early in the morning, get ready, drive out there, spend all day out there, get home after the sun's gone down. And that's okay every once in a while, but not every week. So, all right. I have to take something for my back. So, I will I will be back. Here, let me put a little message on my in case in case anybody shows up to watch. I'll put a little message on here. There. I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Hopefully that'll help. We'll see. At least it'll help me sleep when I'm getting ready to bail, which is probably going to be pretty soon. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning here where I'm at. Great state of Texas, by the way. All right, back to it, eh? Okay, so I mentioned at the very beginning of the stream, almost an hour and a half ago, that there's a couple things that I didn't really think didn't look quite right. And it's this section right here. This lower leg of the Kodiak. That's probably because of the structure of the lower leg. I'm gonna put this on a different layer. Looks like this. There's more or less a big bell bottom type box here, like this. I gathered from my reference drawing. And then there's like a little cowl. It's hard to show this at the weird perspective that I have his leg at. Kind of looks like this. There's a little indentation here. And then behind that, like where the calf would be, there's another piece of the housing. And I don't know, like some of these Kodiak variants have jump jets on them. It's kind of scary, isn't it? Death from above, assault mech. I think Kodak's 100 ton, if I'm not mistaken. Has that. See, this particular joint, the knee joint, has to be behind this housing. Kind of like this. This is very rough. And then there's this and the joint, and there's a little piece of, I assume, armor guard right here, and then you have the upper leg. And this upper leg is going to connect probably right here somewhere, middle of the knee, like that. And so we have to. Oof, this line goes right in the middle. Like it'd be like this. This would be more flat. And then this comes down like this, more flat. Uh, yeah. That's what I'm trying to tell you, that this is really sometimes working these strange angles. I have to go back and forth with it. Let me draw foot in here really quick. It'll be something like this. Down, over, then there's this coupling there. And we have that. And then the one on this side, of course, that'll be in shadow along with the rest of this. You won't see it as much because of the angle. Probably wouldn't even be out that much. Probably be like that instead. Then it has all the armored pieces on the front like this. On the side here like this. Of course, that'd be sticking out a little bit. It's protruding out, so get a little bit more 3 dimensions to it. Yeah, this and the gun and the autocannon up here are things that I'll have to work on a little bit more. So I'm going to avoid it for the rest of the stream. But like I said, I'm in no big hurry, so oh god. Switch your color, Bruce. Don't be an idiot. I don't know if I'm gonna stream tomorrow. It's Friday night. And unfortunately, I can't stream every day. Because then my wife will divorce me and I'll be living on the street. This is all in shadow as well, so that part is. It looks like it has some sections like that. When I'm starting to lay down these pencils is when I start to add in some more of the, well, most of the detail that I'm going to have in the final image. So, down here on this lower leg, I'm going to improvise a little bit. Throw a little line shade in here. Have to do that up here as well. Right. Don't like the way that looks. I think I'm going to kind of redo it here. Put this inset in here. Try to get it straight. It's a little bit better. Maybe it'll look better once I get the. Maybe it'll look better once I get the pencils in there. Hmm. Boy. Well, for these actual circles, ovals, ellipses, or whatever, I'll actually use the tool in here to do that. Set the guideline, then I'll try to do it freehand, and if it doesn't look good enough, then I'll do the final with the tool. The reference photo, there's something in here, and I can't tell what it is because the, the illustration is so small. I can't see what it is. Like, I'm not even sure if this over here is correct either, with the two on the right side of his head. Not sure. Oops, sorry. Camera's blocking that. My bad. Be careful on on this grass stuff. You don't want to make it out of scale, right? It's another thing that I don't worry too much about until the very final stages of the drawing. Just kind of rough it in to begin with, and then after I have everything done, I'll go back and make sure I check that stuff. All right, well, I know we didn't get a whole lot done this time around. I did a lot more talking to myself and showing off some Baltech pictures and some commission stuff than actually knuckle down and draw. So, but as I mentioned already, not a big hurry to do this. I figured this would be a good way for me to practice streaming, talking, trying to be mildly entertaining. And we'll just keep doing. I mean, I think I think I'll do this once or twice a week. Just draw mechs, live stream. Maybe I'll try to do it earlier as well. So maybe get some actual live viewers. That would be nice. And but I also have some other plans for stream. I want to continue with the making comics section of the stream of the channel. I have some plans for the next two making comics. They're going to be called Art to Art, where I'll be talking to indie comic artists, and I have a couple good guests semi lined up for this. So hopefully it'll work out and they'll be able to make it, and we'll do it. The first one, maybe even next week. So we'll see. But got to get that all ironed out, and we'll do it. Hopefully people will come in and find out what it's like to draw a comic book if they don't know already. Learn what other people do to meet deadlines, figure out pacing, figure out layouts. Do they work traditional, digital, things like that? So yeah, that's the plans. If you guys can think of anything else you'd like to see on the channel in regards to art or comics, for that matter, pretty much anything. I would like to get to 100 subscribers like before the end of the year, but I've said that for a year now, and I only have 95. But that's my fault. I don't put content on there, so nobody's going to subscribe to something that doesn't have content. I get that. So I'm trying to do a little better at making regular content. So that's where you guys can help me. If you watch the video, let me know what you'd like to see. So, but for now, I think I'm done. I gotta hit the sack. It's almost 3:30. I'm tired and my shoulder hurts. I can't get it to go away. But thanks. If you do happen to watch this later, thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far through the video, very much appreciate it. And if you're not subbed, sub. And if you would, go ahead and like the video for me. So until next time, catch me on Twitter or on Instagram, and I will speak with you later. Bye.